For just a moment, I would like to introduce you to the door prizes of the evening. The door prizes of the evening. The New Princeton Encyclopedia of Poetry and Poetics.
Yeah.
Quite a tome. Lost in Tall Grass by Laura Schulkind, and this is from David. He brought this here. Very nice.
Very good.
The Color of Water, a black man's tribute to his white mother, James McBride.
Excellent.
Excellent. And if you're into film, Granta, the magazine of new writing, film writing, I'm assuming. And just to let you know, I'm not completely a biblioholic. Neighbors to the Birds. History of bird watching in America, and it's actually very interesting. I've read a little bit here and there about it, so it's pretty cool. And then, if you're not interested in either of those, you can, if you're coming back next week, either choose the keynote, the opening person, of which Mr. Sanderell is this evening.
Oh my God, I forgot.
And the mini feature, which comes after the break. And our mini feature for this evening, Marco Harps, probably won't be here because he called and left a message said he won't, but that doesn't mean he won't. He could still, we don't know. Anyway, so I'll put these over here. And then I forgot something completely different. Chapter 16. Yes, good food and fine poetry since 1972. Mike Augazin, did I say it right? No, I'm just trying to make sure I say his name correctly, because I've never heard him say it. I only know him. Okay. And he'll be here. Mr. Natural has set up the streaming, so if you're shy, only 17,000 people tune in every Wednesday night. I'm not kidding. It's like 89 million. Don't be afraid. They don't bite. I do. The fabulous prizes have been talked about. Tonight's theme, there are many themes, but we always have an American flag, the American flag, because this thing only has 48 stars.
Yeah.
I happen to think that Hawaii and Alaska should be independent, but, you know.
Yeah.
And then a few other places, too, like what's it,
Lake
Okinawa.
Wobegon.
Okinawa should also be.
Oh, no, let's not bring Minnesota into it.
What is wrong with Minnesota? I could tell you all in Lena Joe. The light column is on, and the amps. Does it sound okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
So anyway, addressing the audience out there, please come by sometime. We're looking at a little tiny piece of machinery. This sounds echoey. Hold on a second.
Give me some reverb.
Yes.
How about that?
Make me
Nope.
sound
That's
like
better,
Jimi
a little
Hendrix.
better.
Well,
More
there's
of
a
the
button
same.
I click on here somewhere that takes some of that out. Let me see.
We need to bring a recording of Jimi Hendrix starts.
How about that's better?
That's better.
A little echoey, so that is gone. All right. So think about why you're here, what you're doing here. It's a little bit about the truth, justice. I won't say the American way.
Oh, the Usen way. You can say that.
The what?
The Usen way.
The Usen way.
Yeah, USAN. You know, the Usen
Usen.
Empire. You know,
well,
empires. You can say the Usen.
Well, okay.
Because then you know what America you're talking about. Because if you're talking America, I want to know which one you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, there are
I'm guilty
several.
of that too, because I use America in my poetry sometimes. But you gotta ask, which America are we talking about?
That's true. Right. So it's your chance to speak. Speak freely, speak honestly, speak carefully. Let the people know what you think. You know, if no one's listening, you can say anything you want, so there's a little bit of free speech here. I'm kidding about that. Anyway, let me see who is first up. Oh, you're first up. You're the kicker off for keynote guy. And when you do the keynote, you also come back at the open, just so you know, the keynote is someone who reads a poem by someone else that they feel is important. Impresses Mr. Important.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure, well, first of all, I was going to read a John Trudell poem tonight, but unfortunately, you can't take old people like me anywhere because our minds are gone. And I left the book at home. Fortunately, I did have a Berkeley Poets Cooperative book that I got here. And this is the one that I can probably read. It's not one of You'll be the judge. Poetry news. Recent bearish trends in nearby poetry futures worked out with a large West Coast poetry cooperative. Quality control measures were discussed. Standards & Poor's index shows sales are inverse to a declining stock market. Concern in world literary markets over rumors of Senator Cranston's pending Truth in Poetry bill, which grew out of the consumer's abuse of the language. Scholars of literary jurisprudence have long debated whether language is an irreplaceable natural resource. They expressed concerns over the erosion of communication in English, which lost 123 points against Spanish and Portuguese, the greatest gainers over the past 18 months. Only German and Swedish showed declines, according to the spokesman of the UN Organization of World Literature from headquarters in Strasbourg, France. On the East Coast yesterday, 4 poets were convicted of excessive obfuscation and conspiracy to obstruct aesthetics. 3 received suspensions of 6 months, and the 4th was denied use of the language for 2 years. An appeal is expected, according to the lawyers for the group. That piece was written by Richard Strong. That's all I know about him, but I liked it.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, John, next time.
All right. Oh, yeah, I want to get the... Okay. Oh, I gotta find it. Oh, just like I thought, okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. Well, that in case you, when you read somebody else's, I like to keep track of who it is so I can credit them when I do my write-ups.
And that's a gem that I got here, everyone.
And now, the man who is always here when he's here. And when he's here, he's always. Mr. Clyde Always, give us your show.
All right. No vacations.
Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, come on, step right up, folks. Go on and grab yourself a front row seat before the gong. They're going fast. You don't want to miss this. It's time for another exciting installment of the Clyde Always Show. With me, your always clever, always handsome, always charming host, Clyde Always. And I got one tonight. I think I've done it here once before, but I totally fucked it up. So this time I'm going to do it from the top. It's called The Loss of the Lump. It goes like this. Once upon a foggy night in Oakland, California, 3 hungry bohemians sat in a flat west of MLK. They were the lump, the brains, and the tits. The lump controlled the brains, and the tits controlled the lump. They lounged on couches around a little piano. The lump was drunk, soaked to the gills. The lump was big and mean and bald and scary. Now, the lump hadn't written a word in weeks. The lump was always drunk. The tits was drunk too. The tits was dark and lovely as your 5th cup of coffee. The brains was also drunk. The brains was sad and weak and scared and doodled a miserable doodle. Then the lump let loose a 7-layer rapid snap fart, and the brains was soothed with laughter. But the tits screamed and slapped and scratched the lump. Then the tits pounded piano keys and music came out, and the lump and the brains wobbled and slammed another beer apiece. Then they regaled each other with paperback monologues about pink and fluffy birth canals. And they all had another swig in unison. Then the lump began to write, and the brains began to draw, and the tits began to compose. And the man on the moon was a-smiling through the open window when the lump began to wail. Then the lump, with ridiculous tears in the eyes, let the bottle slip through the fingers, and it smashed on the hardwood floor. And the tits screamed and slapped and scratched the lump, flailed and gouged till smashed a glass on the head of the lump, and the brains cowered in a corner as the lump began to bleed. and the lump roared, and the lump stomped, and the tits shrieked, and the tits bounced up and down, and the brains cried tears of plenty, and an ocean in the throes of a squall it rose all around them, and the brains made fast a lifeboat piano, and a sketchbook oar, and a poetry life preserver, and the tits climbed aboard and took to the keys and played them the saddest of songs, and the brains tossed the preserver out to the lump, but the lump couldn't swim. The lump was washed out of sight, and the tits and the brains, they landed on shore and they put on a big pot of coffee while the lump sniffled and snored. Thanks, everybody. That's The Loss of the Lump. I hope you liked it. Sorry for the profanity. Got an ever so short one to leave you with. It's called Witless Will. And it goes like this. Witless, 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 witless Will, who was whittling into the wind, is wondering why he's wiping a wood chip out of his eye. Thanks, everybody. Tune in next time for another episode of the Clyde Always Show. Good night.
Good night. Thank you. I tell him to speak a little louder and be a little more emphatic all the time. You know? And Leonard, may you present please to the audience who waits your word.
Okay. In honor of the flag, I was going to read something else, but then I thought, well, this is one that really has a lot to do with my country, tis of the issues. So I haven't read it for a long time. Probably most of you haven't heard it. It's called Fleet Week. Immaculate white Siemens caps float and bobble, streaming North Beach, Fleet Week sidewalks, strolling under a white plastic flight of books, split-winged pages blink on and off, dust-time fireflies, fragile artists, flag of hope, Columbus and Broadway, word pollination, dusting, techno city habitats, and tendering concrete dream ecosystem regreening, aspiration of words blown and etched in sidewalk tablatured street art display. Yet a sudden shrieking roar torn from the throats of invading Leviathan demonic hosts rattles the golden Cali bell jar atmosphere, no naysayer to all delicate seminal sprouting growth, protectorate of indigenous hard scrabble street festivities, curbside Campari mahjong, the powder of beggars, and improv of dobro fiddle buskers, all now shaken to taproot. On Green Street, old men smile from open windows, wave, pointing up, and young men on rooftops stand staring straight up, enwrapped bottles of stout held down, inked warriors' knots slackened in temporary self-deferred limbo, vicarious skymen swept in limitless perfect trajectory, straight to the top with 6 bullet-headed razor blade arrow fletchings, the Blue Angels FA-18 Hornets 8,000-foot ceiling Fleet Week air circus showcasing, flick of a switch, steel fiends combat ready, fighter to strike enabled, spiraling 6,000 kilograms assured killing capacity in racked Amran slammers, sidewinders, and smart bombs too, and long-stemmed girls swinging South Pacific fantasies on sailors' arms. Drop, doe-eyed, beneath a brace of small green trees, swiveling glances for full elliptic of Skyman, Godman, Mach 1.8 engines, cracking, boom carpet ululations across the never-ending blue dish curvature, ringing faint golden light smile, and long-stemmed girls on Stockton drop, laughing, catching sight of just a flight of doves and pigeons, a whirring, whistling pivot crossing to ceaseless sunny noontime grinding, just doves and pigeons, soft gray flurry of wings, whispering breath of invisible spirit flow across the boundless sweeping azure Godhead, flesh and bone pinion whistling union of heaven and earth, as 6 killing chrome angels, the American Deus Ex Machina a death-denying psychic demiurge in dread of non-being, mortality's terror projected out, thunderous supersonic rage, racking the Cali bell jar atmosphere, the pale falling coastal light boon, the all-embracing isness loving all, the white seaman's caps bobbling in vortex of waters and torn limbs in Guadalcanal, the North Sea, Sea of Gibraltar, Gulf of St. Lawrence, Midway, Pearl Harbor, Battle of Inchon, the Bay of Tonkin, the all-accepting isness giving answers, even in all infinite destruction, as in all tender excrescences of plankton, seaweed, sea fern, coral reefs, sea anemone, sand dollars, starfish, tang of eucalyptus leaf, brown pod button, and dusky fungi. I can't read that. In tail of comet, star gases, and vapor of meteor, inspiration of blowing words, and the anomalous, fearless human patter of beggars and improv of reed flutes, penny whistles, harmonicas, steel drums, dobro fiddle buskers, and street singers, all asking nothing but to sing, to play, to breathe, all giving isness, asking nothing now and to be. Anyhow, I believe in the magical poetry. After I wrote this, they stopped doing Fleetwing for a while. Incantation. Yeah.
Incantations, that's true. That's true. All right, thank you, Ann Leonard. I'm going to read the next few readers so we know who's coming up and when. Next we have Adolph, then David, and Stephanie, then Ed, then Richard, then myself, then Owen. So Adolph, take it. Ready? You got a moment, it's okay. I forgot to mention one thing. This is a very interesting little workshop that Sally Lord Saunders puts on. And I have to say, it's free, this is all the basic information. But every time I've gone to one of her workshop things, I always come away with a poem or poems that I really like. So it's very effective stuff, and she's a very good person in the way she does things. So that's what I have to say about that. Let's see if that's better. I think that's even better. All right. What else is there? Oh, we forgot to give a round of applause to our hosts. Back here, the people who make this place, open the doors for us. Teddy and Fiona. That's my brain is like firing on 4 cylinders. It's supposed to be a V12. All right. So with that said, I'm going to move back here and sit down and stop my ranting and give this man a round of applause. As he comes back here.
Release the demons, Lord Almighty! Release the demons!
Well, stop that.
Thank you. Most of the time I work with people who have short attention span. Well, I used to write, people I wrote for before I came here, they had short attention spans.
All right.
And it's something that my first poem is called San Francisco Junk. Now I'm just trying this out. Cans, apples, hats, brass, legends, really man. Mustard, rim, face, dark shadows, again man. Dogs, canes, sofas, TVs, happy man. That's it.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right, hey.
There you go.
Now this is another one I just wrote, I think, last night. Time. What they wait, time. To the grind. Do you have time? Living in time with time by time. Time's wasting that day away, what you say? Time. When do I learn to achieve? Not how long it takes, or what I achieve. To realize it is a way, and it's me. Time. What a way to distract, to atone, to be alone. What a way. Time. I think I got one more here. It's called Go All the Way. Well, hey, go all the way. If you need a trick, you gotta go all the way. If you want to be bold, you gotta go all the way. When time is running low, you gotta go all the way. If there was no second chances, you got to go all the way. Go all the way. Like I say, the people I work were writing for, they had short attention spans. So that's why it was short poems.
There you go. Hey, there's nothing wrong with a short poem. Deliver as need be. David Erdreich is coming up now. From the East Bay, a voice of note and merit.
I do the Bay Area Poetry Coalition, and we meet once a month, and I give a workshop, an improvisation workshop, and it's the second one I've given, and it was good enough that I'm going to do it once a month at Strawberry Creek Lodge where I live, and so April 4th, 2 o'clock, and I call it Improve Improv. So you're all invited from 2 to 3, so that's in Berkeley.
And he will give you further details upon it.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be online somewhere. Okay, I'm going to start with some stuff from September 14th of last year, and then I'm going to segue to stuff that I did about a week ago. And if there's time, then I'll keep going. Gotcha. Okay, so. Omnipres. Oh, sure, make up a new name for God, but then forget it because it can't be spoken. This is called Catastrophe, Apostrophe, No Fee to Pay. Beyond the edge lives a wise, wizened old man, crinkled, puffy, wispy straggler, like a hummingbird just behind your left shoulder, collector of talisman, all the idols which try but fail to picture essence, a book of spells, burning fluid, mercury, misused icons, unguided arrows, snake staffs, ear smoke, many others collected in a glass bauble, which we can see out of, but cannot view from outside in. Its size is variable, fingernail to boulder. Its color roils like an iridescent soap bubble. It can hiss and burn like lava or freeze and punk like ice flow. Texture flake like mica, bounce like rubber, stick like epoxy. To handle this object is to pass your hand through fast food batter into murk, catching glints of dark planes or pointed nuance, a burr that blurs, a notch that widens, then snaps shut. Pick it up, remove the cap, pour out the contents into a sorcery, or your temporal lobe lengthens every time you tell the truth. Trees speak to you about the ring of annual, but if you blink, your eyelashes change color, and you lose the ability to distinguish the links which make all poets eternal from the acid which etches the plate, forcing each speaker into a single body, separate from the communal black hole, vulnerable to the magnetic field of joy, no longer privy to the solar wind, a wizard fleeing the corporal. That was by D. Compress. This one is by M. Anate. In contrast, you appear like two sides of a coin. You sing two songs, play two airs, listeners are sated, impressed by slight variety, a little comedy, a little tragedy. They identify with you, feel they know you, just as every handwriting, every thumbprint is different. They have barely scratched your surface. You are a spinning top who has no bottom, in constant motion, in the whirlpool of life, So many facets hidden in the curl of your grain. It would take an E on or an I out to howl all your vowels to a moonrise, for your facets are not set fast, but constantly rotate from foreground to background of the axial tilt of your head, heave of your breast, curve of your neck, modem of your voice, and you are but one of many adjunct adjutants arcing through a firework to appear as a colorful explosion, disappear as a remembered kiss, exchange fluids with the Grim Reaper, metamorph and Mindy the Lindy, dance all non-essential fatty acids into the dust of dusk. Sorry about that. The dust of dusk. Then rise, O mythical phoenix, and become human. This is for X number one, ex-wife. I have three of them. This is for Eileen Hazelnut. I found a tree where I go mushrooming, and this reminded me of her. She has beaten cancer 3 times and is leaving the Bay Area to move back to hometown of Pennsylvania. So this is for you. This was written 12/9/2010. I saw you today. A day of soft, steady rain and damp. Your leaves, the color of lime ice, the merest murmur of yellow and white green. All your leaves the same color. Canopy beneath a larger oak, partial, never full sunlight. Your sisters along the trail caught direct rays part of the day. They might reflect dark green, yellow, red, brown, all in one leaf, but not you. Your color was uniform, as if you had been kissed by lunar moths or moon rays. Pale as pale, luminous, haunting, pearl earring, invisible, hazel they call you, hazelnut, filbert, cloud cover, water planet filled you with ghostly inner pulse. I've seen you in the eyes of Eileen, of Aunt Blanche. You are different. Those sharp, blue-eyed sisters who can see past the waves over the earth's curve, they are not like you. Those brown-eyed aunts who encompass the warmth of life enraptured, they are not like you. Your sight is green, flecked, intricate, delicate, full of the surprises a hidden watercourse can bring. Like September, you hint at changing seasons, transform warm to cool, leaving the chance of spring to others. You remember without envy. You remember without sorrow. Your eyes, that color, tell me you remember. Thank you. That was by T. Scribe.
T. Scribe and David Cartwright. Thank you so much.
Will I ever know your name?
Well, I'm David Erdreich.
David?
David, yes.
Yeah.
Lee Watson. I don't know David.
What's his last name?
Well, he has
Erdreich. The rise and fall of the Erdreich.
Stephanie Manning is coming up next to hold fifth. Give her a nice little round, please. And then we have Ned, Richard, myself, Owen, Alistair Crowley.
Pay attention. Who else?
Oh, well, Alistair Crowley in the all-night images, but, you know, we don't know if they're going to show up.
Okay, so this one's called The Beatnik Cops, and it's based on some recent articles in the San Francisco Chronicle about the cops that beat up the beatniks. Gumby cops wavering through the nights on 1950s streets in San Francisco, searching for deviants, beatniks, spying one or a group of them. They lean into the fog with Gumby brains and head for the beatniks, billy clubs drawn. They mess up the beatniks and haul them in, fueling the movement, out of Gumby non-thinking, till hauled in themselves by time and alcohol. A new era presents itself and change, not so much Gumby brain extinction as submergence into undercover tiptoe observation like disappearing Tinkerbells, little born-again square jewels in the round tapestry of San Francisco, but straight, but straight, sometimes out of character and off the clock. Jewels deconstruct themselves like stars in the night sky from which they came when they were Gumby cops. May they find a cozy retirement in some witness protection program or other, the only safe place come the revolution. A cheap shot ending for a band of non-credible and cowardly actors who would rather die than reveal themselves, and yet they do over and over again. This one's called After the Community Meeting. When at last light with the fading fire of sunset drawing us home, we lay aside our scabbards as women warriors against the system and muster the strength bestowed on us by nature, which is the strength to stand in silent awe of the high cloud shelf to the west, illuminated for the moment by blazing truth, beyond words, beyond time frames, beyond the permit process and plans of money to breed money for money. Good friends, worship quietly at dusk outside and leave the money people trapped inside, trapped by themselves, their life choices and justified greed. But peace resides outside, as wildlife, large and small, nestle down to recharge their souls, the earth creatures, and the warriors who clean their weapons of reason for the major battle ahead. That slim chance of success has left their thinking as they leave this, the first Parian thing, where enemy mingled with enemy prior to battle, and evil magnified itself. Good rallied, and each went to their separate corners, one in the cave and breathing alcoholic fumes of greed, while the others left to stand in the cool night air and watch as the beautiful red sunset filled them with fire for the fight. Good night, warriors. Sleep, strengthened in your knowledge of the truth. Hold fast to nature, the earth, and love.
Thank you, Manny. All right. Hold on just a moment here. We have regrets from individuals who cannot be here. Charles and David Koch. Steely Dan, Horace Mann, Manfred Mann, Mighty Manfred the Wonder Dog, Snoop Dogg, Snoopy, Whoopi Goldberg, Ruth Goldberg, Goldfinger, Sting, Ray Charles, Charles Manson, Gloria Swanson, Charles Bronson, Dick Clark, Dick and Jane, Plain Jane, Mary Jane, Mark Twain, Twain Hart, and Bret Hart. Also Captain Beefheart and Kangaroo. Mick Rooney and Ann Clooney send their regards, as does Rip Torn, Lena Horne, and Jack Parr.
I'm really sad about Captain Beefheart.
Yes.
Oh, we missed them,
Every week I tell these people, and every week it's one thing. The bus breaks down, I lost my shoe, was on the phone for 5 hours, my mom died. I tell you, I broke my leg, the lame excuse I've ever heard. So, Ned, come on up here. We look forward to hearing you. Give him a nice round of applause for him. You want me to hold that for you?
No, I'll just put it right here.
All right.
I can guess
Okay,
right.
so
That's fine. No, that's all right.
I'm an artist as well as a poet, so
I'll go like this, I'll go like
this
this. There we go.
there we go. This is from my cosmological series. This place was much bigger back in the 70s. It was like 3 times this size. It comprised whatever.
Oh, you're talking about the
Your shop
building.
next door?
Yeah.
A lot bigger. Okay, well, a voice from out of nowhere, poetry from trees, seeds into thought and thought into 4 feet lumbering, then sleeping still. A voice from out of nowhere, thronged with parchment, a fluttering down, flattened, a flattened flower in an old book nobody reads anymore. And this one is is also from my cosmological series. If you want to see 565 examples of my work, you can go to my website. I have my own domain name. It's edwardmillette.com. 2 L's and 2 T's.
Edward what?
Millette. Millette.
M-I-L-L-E-T-T.
Millett.
Even on Facebook.
And I am, yes. I walk the dog that I am, fastened to deception, glued to go up and down always. He's insane, you know. You informed me of that. I'm a bastard of circumstance, a forgiver of doubts. I go all the way up to the highest point. They only notice when I fall. And that's all I brought.
Thank you, Ned. We have, say again? Oh, I thought someone said. Richard Sandoval's coming back up. He was our keynote, but when you do the keynote, you get to also be in the open. So he's coming back, then me, then Owen, and then Adventures Anonymous. I'm just making things up as I go. Would you like to read? Give the man a round of applause.
Yes, the old beatnik in the house, right? The old beatnik. You know, you introduced me as a beatnik guy. I said, my God, I'm not that old, brother. I'm from the 60s, not the 50s.
All right.
I would, I'm gonna be alive, who knows? But anyway, I read down there with Clyde's event, and it was a pleasure, actually. Well, you know, I'm not getting any younger, so the younger crowd sort of gave me a little juice that night, but it was good. Anyway, so shut up and read. No time. I read this last week, but so anyway, no time. I have no time for the right, the left, the center, the pacifist, or the religious. I have no time for the right and the left because all they want to do is proselytize. I have no time for the religious for the same reason. I have no time for the pacifists because all they want to do is yell peace, 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 but they seem to be unable to do the hard work to bring about peace. That step which is left out and is the hardest is reconciliation. I have no time for the center because they think everything is all right. In the end, the only thing I can believe in is myself. I'm sort of reading that because of last week. The reason I'm restating it is because I do want to write a larger piece about an incident that took place at a Shell Mountain Walk last week. And when the native people with the Buddhists from Japan, who have always been there for the native people since at least 1978, standing with Indian people, being there with Indian people during their struggle, and these leftists, and I consider myself a leftist, stood there and yelled at them because they didn't understand who they were. Secondly, they were yelling at the Indian people and the Buddhists because what are you going to do? Pray it away? While they were there, and don't get me wrong, but they were there supporting the Muslim struggle. And they were supporting their right to pray as well, I would think. So where's the hypocrisy in that? So I was really angered by that. And so that's why I've reread that. I know I'm taking my time here, but shut up. So let's read further. Hopefully I can get this done. This is more prose. I want to find a poem in this eventually. From Coca to Oil. There is a documentary called Cocalero. It's about the election of Evo Morales, a Mayan native who is the first indigenous president of Bolivia and a member of the Cocalero movement among the native people. The documentary deals with the struggles in preserving the cocoa plant that the Usan Empire deemed illegal. Evo Morales, before becoming president, had worked with the cocoa collectors in protecting this sacred plant. You may wonder why they view this plant as sacred. It allows the people to go up to high in the mountains and to breathe easy. It also decreases their appetite so that there's no need to carry abundance of food, and it gives them the energy to do the work in tending to their plants. The cocoa plant provides minerals, keeping them healthy. Floyd Red Crow Westerman was at the showing of this documentary. After the film ended, Floyd said that USA had turned what is the sacred plant into a poison. That is the real reason the empire stands against the cocoa collectors. They're the ones protecting the cocoa plant from being turned into a poison. In the old world, and the ancestors used drugs in their natural forms that benefited those who needed help or relief. Peyote is a good example of that sacred healing medicine that some only take to get high, but soon discover there is more to this medicine than just getting stoned, and the misuse can have its perils. After the evening ended, I was thinking about what Floyd had said. We had turned sacred into poison. Then it came to me, another way of expressing how we were killing ourselves and most of the life on Earth. Through mining, poisons that were hidden from us are released and is now killing us. In our current times, the money interest has taken something that the Earth put away. She buried it. It's her refuse, her lubricant. We call it oil, coal, and uranium. She buried it so that life in the oceans and land survive. The life that lives off the oil and the coal breaks these poisons down deep below our feet, rendering it safer. The exception is where the oil may bubble to the surface. Uranium mining, much is done on native lands, brought us Hiroshima, Nagasaki, Chernobyl, Fukushima, 3 Mile Island. These are just the ones we know about. Uranium leaks from storage areas, coal slurries where dams burst, runs across the lands and rivers, rendering them uninhabitable. What has been done to the earth, and the manure has been ripped from her and stripped from her and burned for energy, and then we wonder why we're getting sick. Our air, lands, and waterways are befouled. I'm probably running out of time. Okay. We turned that poison into fertilizer and grow our food. Lots of money is made. Farmers build mini castle houses. Cars and trucks are bought. This liquid shit is spread across the land with big water sprayers loaded with hormones and antibiotics. Rachel Carson warned us about pesticides, insecticides, and how they mimic estrogen in the body, increasing cancers. Instead, she was vilified by the moneymakers. The risk is worth it. The profit is worth the profit. After all, we have to feed the world. One wonders, after all these rewards of profit, what do the farmers and moneymakers tell their wives when they come down with breast and ovarian cancers? What is it that they tell their children when they come down with leukemia? What is it that they tell themselves when they come down with anemia, colon, or rectal cancers? What do they say to us? What do they say when those who they love become addicted to what is the sacred plant turned into a poison? What do they say when it costs them their lives in the land and that they land in prison? What do they say to us? Indeed, what do they say? All right, well, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I gotta find the poem in there, too.
Yeah, it's there.
All right. How are we doing out there, ladies and gentlemen? Pretty good? Mostly good here and there? All right. I'm putting on my glasses. So I'm going to read 3 poems for you. They're pretty short. This first one was written back in, say, like 1974 or something. And, well, no, maybe 73, something like that, because I was still in college. And I had gone home for some reason. It was Thanksgiving or the day before. And as we're sitting there peeling potatoes or doing whatever we're doing to get ready for the dinner, the news comes on. And the story inspired this poem. The second poem cleans the palate, and then this is just like something just to bear in mind. So this is the news story. In Chicago, Christian men eat and bury boys. The flesh eaters want more than mere sex will allow. The boys who died, horrible. They eat the ribs barbecued and the brains raw. They like killing dreams too. Eat the leg at a dinner with friends. Ate the heart in a pie after gouging out its red pulsing light. The flesh eaters find the best food. The young, innocent, hairless, shivering with introspection, that scarcity of breath. The faces always showing themselves to be the victim of their stories. Vacant humanity sucks them dry, and these evaporating spirits always have the most tender, most juicy flesh, so succulent. And I don't know why that was on the news, but that was one of the first weird things I ever saw in my life. What the heck is wrong with these people? Happy Thanksgiving! Not for somebody. All right, so this is the palate cleanser. Our children's wings. Before our children awake, stretch and yawn amid coverlets, we wonder, will they have happy eyes, smiling hearts, and no thoughts save those of idle or play? All their livelong day, will they sing to us with delicate grace? Will they have a sense of wonder, providing dispensation from the deep pull of this world's gravity? Will their dreams rise up, then swiftly soar, as if the whole blue wind of the world were beneath their heavenly wings? Where their gleaming souls foretell the rising thermals, see through feathery coolness of such clouds as the generosity of the ocean and the kindness of the sun has gifted our world with? Will they know the wholesome regard of men and women for their fine balance of charm and wit? Will their gifts of power and beauty remind us of ours? The ways of the heart are not so mysterious. All it ever wants to do is live and give, and its love is ever in need of more giving, more songs. And this is essential, vital. So much so that one may entertain that it alone endures beyond all other things. In this sense, its love can never be denied, nor has it any limit. And though we know heaven is kindly, its music will ever charm, inspiring our heart's compositions of love. And so quiet, in this dawning before us, we gaze upon small cherubic faces, their smooth brows and rounded, dreamy lids, their careless forms draped in slumbering comfort. What will our children do upon awaking? Will they see themselves as do we, find their ethereal wings so as to lift upon the dream worlds of this world before rising into those of the next? Before their eyes open, we whisper that yes, yes, you can fly. And now, I should have read this one before the palate cleanser. It's simple though, see? So simple. In the time to come. They say there is little left now, yet we manage well enough. Dunes inundate the towers, but we shield our camps in their lee. After all this time, you can still look through sealed windows into the remains of another world. The furniture is complex and odd. There are tables, machines, even pictures, books, and papers. Any one of those items are far, far older than I'll ever be, than my clan's name, or that anyone can tell. We have seekers who go inside those haunts, curiosity still a gift. Some of those who so ventured speak of the smell, the powdery floors, all sorts of dust. Many seekers suffer a sickness consequent to their visits, and often enough they die. we leave the towers alone, mostly. I mean, you can get useful things, metal for knives and tools, but the gaining of such treasures is always balanced by the vital threat to the seeker's life, mostly. Someday, we'll move on, but for now we stay, keeping as ours what has always been ours, and keeping those others away. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So we have Owen coming up, and then I think I saw Garrett come in. Okay, we got a couple of people, and then Mike will be our feature of the evening. Give Owen a nice little round of applause up there. Nice to meet you there.
Can everybody hear me? Star. The machinery of might, the bird's soaring flight, the dark angel's sight, day's everlasting night. A vast indecision that shakes the head at derision, the holy circumcision of the human condition. Hour. The hour winds and goes by slowly. Human interaction can make me feel lowly. The day has passed, spinning like a top. The earth slowly rotates, like music, never will it stop. James Liddy, a memoir. James Liddy was a creative writing instructor I took 2 classes from at San Francisco State way back in '68. He was a native of Ireland, County Roscommon, a poet and a barrister. He held classes at a small cottage on Waller Street in the Hague. He liked my work and we became friends. He was honest in his criticism of my poetry. No, Wally, they're on an ego trip, he would say of some rivals. Stan Rice, the late Stan Rice, was one of his rivals. I was a pale goblet stem of a boy, a pale goblet